I forwarded my husband's secretary's lingerie photo to the restaurant screen. Revenge, betrayal. Hi, I'm Amelia, 32 years old. And tonight, I exposed my husband's secret life in front of 200 people during our anniversary dinner. He thought his affair was hidden. His secretary sent him a lingerie photo with the message, "Can't wait for tomorrow's private meeting," and I forwarded it to the restaurant's display screen during his toast. The champagne glass slipped from his trembling hand as everyone watched his secret life unfold in high definition. Before I tell you how everything went down, hit like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Because trust me, this is a story you'll never forget. The rage I felt that night still burns through my veins every single day. Let me take you back to where this nightmare began. William and I had been married for 8 years. 8 years of what I thought was happiness, love, and partnership. He was a successful lawyer at one of the city's most prestigious firms, and I was proud of him. I supported his long hours, his weekend meetings, his business trips. I believed in us. I believed in him. What a fool I was. It started with little things that my broken heart now recognizes as red flags. He became secretive with his phone, angling it away when texting. He started working even later, claiming new clients demanded his attention. He bought new cologne, started going to the gym more frequently, and began paying more attention to his appearance. When I complimented these changes, he'd brush them off with that charming smile that once made my heart flutter, but now makes my stomach turn with disgust. The secretary, Jessica, had been working for his firm for about 2 years. 24 years old, blonde, ambitious, and everything I wasn't anymore after years of supporting his career while sacrificing my own dreams. She was fresh out of law school, eager to please, and apparently very good at pleasing my husband in ways I never imagined. The thought of her hands on him, her lips on his, makes me sick to this day. I first noticed something was wrong 3 months before our anniversary. William had always been attentive, but he became distant, distracted. He'd stare at his phone during dinner, claiming it was work emails. He'd receive calls at odd hours and step outside to take them. When I asked about work stress, he'd deflect with promises of romantic getaways once his big case was over. Another lie to add to the mountain of deception he was building. The discovery came by accident, as these things often do. I was doing laundry when his work phone fell out of his jacket pocket. The screen lit up with a notification, and I saw her name. Jessica. At first, I thought nothing of it. She was his secretary after all. But something about the timestamp bothered me. It was 11 p.m. on a Saturday. What work emergency required a secretary to text at that hour? My hands shook as I unlocked his phone. I knew his passcode, our anniversary date. How's that for irony? What I found shattered my world into a million pieces. Months of messages between them. Intimate photos. Plans for hotel meetings. Discussions about their future together. He was planning to leave me after our anniversary dinner, telling her it would be poetic justice to end our marriage on the same day we'd celebrated it for years. The pain was unbearable. I felt like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out my heart. 8 years of my life, wasted on a man who was planning to discard me like yesterday's newspaper. I cried until I had no tears left, then cried some more. I wanted to confront him immediately, to scream and throw things and make him feel even a fraction of the agony he'd caused me. But then something else took over. Something darker, more calculated. I realized I had power in this situation. He didn't know that I knew. He was planning his grand exit after our anniversary dinner, which he'd already booked at the city's most exclusive restaurant. He wanted to end things publicly, dramatically, probably to humiliate me in front of our friends and family who would be there. "Two can play that game, you bastard." I spent the next week planning my revenge. I researched the restaurant's technology setup and discovered they had large display screens throughout the dining room for presentations and special events. I befriended the event coordinator, telling her I wanted to surprise William with a slideshow during dinner. She was thrilled to help with such a romantic gesture. The night of our anniversary arrived. I dressed in my most stunning dress, did my hair and makeup perfectly, and played the role of the loving, unsuspecting wife. William was unusually affectionate that evening, probably feeling guilty about his planned betrayal. His tender kisses felt like poison on my lips. Every "I love you" was a dagger to my already bleeding heart. The restaurant was beautiful, filled with our closest friends and family members who had gathered to celebrate what they believed was a happy marriage. If they only knew they were about to witness its destruction. I smiled and laughed and played my part while my husband prepared to destroy our life together. During cocktails, I positioned myself near the technical equipment. The event coordinator showed me how to connect to the display screens, thinking she was helping me surprise my husband with loving photos. The irony was suffocating. I connected my phone to the system and waited for the perfect moment. That moment came during dinner when William stood up to give a toast. He looked so handsome in his tailored suit, so confident and self-assured. He raised his champagne glass and began speaking about love, commitment, and the future. Every word was a lie, and I felt my rage building to a crescendo. 8 years ago, I married my best friend, he said, looking directly at me with those lying eyes. Amelia has been my rock, my support system, and the love of my life. The audacity of this man to stand there and lie to everyone we cared about while planning to leave me for his secretary made my blood boil. Just then, his phone buzzed with a new message. I watched his face change as he glanced at it discreetly. It was from Jessica. A photo of her in red lingerie with the message, "Can't wait for tomorrow's private meeting. I'll be wearing this under my clothes during your divorce announcement." That was my moment. My finger hovered over the forward button as William continued his toast, unaware that his secret life was about to be exposed to everyone in that room. "To many more years of love and happiness," he concluded, raising his glass higher. "To the truth," I whispered and hit send. The photo appeared on every screen in the restaurant. Jessica, in her red lingerie, posed seductively, with that damning message displayed for all to see. The effect was immediate and devastating. William's champagne glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor, the sound echoing through the suddenly silent room. 200 people stared at the screens in shock. My mother gasped audibly. His parents looked mortified. Our friends began murmuring in confused whispers. William's face went white as a sheet, then red with humiliation as he realized what had happened. "Amelia, I can't explain," he stammered, but his voice was lost in the growing chaos of the room. People were pulling out their phones, taking pictures, recording videos. His carefully crafted image was crumbling in real time, and I felt a savage satisfaction watching him squirm. But here's where this story takes a turn that even I didn't see coming. As William stood there, frozen in horror, another person in the room had gone equally pale. My best friend, my maid of honor, the woman I'd trusted with my deepest secrets for over a decade, Linda. She was staring at the screen with the same expression of terror as my husband. That's when I noticed it. The red lingerie in the photo looked familiar. Too familiar. I'd seen Linda wearing that exact set during a girls' weekend trip last year when we'd gone shopping together. She'd bought it as a confidence boost after her own divorce, or so she'd told me. The pieces fell into place with horrifying clarity. Linda worked at the same law firm as William. That's how we'd met him. She'd been the one encouraging me to trust him, to give him space, to not question his late nights and weekend work. She'd been playing the supportive best friend while orchestrating my husband's affair behind my scenes. Jessica wasn't his secretary. Jessica was Linda's middle name, Linda Jessica Morrison. She'd been using her middle name for the affair, probably thinking it would keep her real identity hidden if anyone discovered the messages. The 24-year-old blonde secretary was a fabrication. The real betrayal was from someone much closer to home. My best friend of 15 years had stolen my husband. The rage I felt in that moment transcended anything I'd experienced before. The affair was devastating enough, but this betrayal cut deeper than any wound I'd ever imagined possible. Linda had held me while I cried about feeling disconnected from William. She'd given me advice on how to rekindle our romance. She'd helped me plan this very anniversary dinner while secretly planning to help him leave me. William finally found his voice. "Amelia, please let's talk about this privately." But I was beyond talking. I was beyond reasoning. The woman I'd considered a sister had destroyed my marriage while pretending to be my closest confidant. I stood up slowly, and the entire restaurant fell silent. Every eye was on me as I walked toward the screens that still displayed Linda's photo. I picked up the microphone that William had used for his toast. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice steady despite the earthquake of emotions inside me. I'd like you all to meet Jessica, my husband's secretary. Except Jessica is actually Linda Morrison, my best friend of 15 years and my maid of honor. The collective gasp that went up from the crowd was audible. Linda tried to stand, tried to leave, but she was trapped by the crowd and her own shame. William was pleading with me to stop, but I was just getting started. For months, I've been wondering why my marriage was falling apart. Why my husband seemed distant and distracted. Why my best friend kept encouraging me to give him space while he worked through his stress. Now I know why. She was working through his stress for him, if you know what I mean. The raw pain in my voice was evident to everyone in the room. Some people were crying, others were staring in shock, and a few were recording everything for social media. This private moment of betrayal was becoming a public spectacle, but I was past caring about dignity or propriety. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and drop a comment with your location. I want to know where my fellow betrayed souls are watching from, because this story is far from over. Linda, I continued, turning to face her directly, remember when you helped me pick out this dress for tonight? When you told me how beautiful I looked and how lucky William was to have me? Were you laughing inside, knowing you were going to help him leave me after dinner? Linda finally found her voice, but it was shaky and pathetic. Amelia, it's not what you think. It just happened. We never meant for it to go this far. It just happened. I repeated, my voice rising. For months? Planning hotel meetings just happened? Planning your future together just happened? Helping him strategize the best way to humiliate me publicly just happened? The room was captivated by this real-life drama unfolding before them. Our anniversary dinner had become a courtroom, and I was both prosecutor and judge. William tried to approach me, but I held up my hand to stop him. I warned. Don't you dare come near me. You've done enough damage for one lifetime. I turned back to the crowd, many of whom were our mutual friends and would need to choose sides in the aftermath of this revelation. I want everyone here to remember this moment. Remember how easy it is for people you trust to destroy your life while smiling to your face. Remember that betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people who are supposed to love you most. The pain in my voice was raw and real. 8 years of marriage, 15 years of friendship, all destroyed by two people who claimed to love me. The weight of that betrayal was crushing. But standing there in that moment, exposing their lies to everyone who mattered to us, I felt a strange sense of power. William, you wanted to make this anniversary memorable, I continued, looking directly at my husband who was still standing frozen by his shattered champagne glass. Well, congratulations. None of us will ever forget this night. I set the microphone down and walked toward the exit, leaving behind a room full of shocked faces, broken relationships, and the ruins of my life. But as I reached the door, I turned back one more time. Oh, and Linda? I called out. That red lingerie looks better on me. I wore the same set on our honeymoon. I guess William has a type women who trust him completely before he destroys them. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear my own heartbeat as I walked out of that restaurant and into the cool night air. My phone was already buzzing with calls and messages, but I ignored them all. The story would spread through our social circle within hours. By morning, everyone would know what William and Linda had done. The aftermath was swift and brutal. William tried to call hundreds of times, but I'd changed my number. Linda attempted to reach me through mutual friends, but I'd asked them to respect my need for space. The divorce proceedings began immediately, and thanks to the evidence I'd gathered from his phone, I had significant leverage. But the real punishment wasn't legal, it was social. In a city where reputation matters, William and Linda became pariahs overnight. Videos of that night went viral on social media. Their affair became a cautionary tale about betrayal and karma. William's law firm, concerned about their public image, forced him to take a leave of absence. Linda lost several clients who couldn't trust someone capable of such deception. The pain doesn't go away, though. Even now, months later, I wake up angry. I go to sleep angry. The betrayal has changed me in ways I'm still discovering. Trust, once broken so completely, doesn't easily heal. I find myself questioning every relationship, every friendship, every casual interaction. If the two people closest to me could deceive me so thoroughly, who else might be lying? Some nights, I lie awake replaying every moment of our friendship and marriage, looking for signs I missed. Were there clues I ignored? Moments when their guilt showed through their performances? The gaslighting was so complete, so expertly executed, that I doubt my own perceptions even now. The revenge felt good in the moment. Watching their faces as their secret was exposed to everyone they knew gave me a satisfaction I'd never experienced before. But revenge is a cold comfort when you're lying alone in a bed that used to hold two people who promised to love you forever. People ask me if I regret how I handled it, if I would do anything differently. The answer is complicated. I regret trusting them. I regret not seeing the signs sooner. I regret wasting 8 years of my life on someone who could discard me so easily. But I don't regret exposing them. They made their choices, and I simply made sure those choices had consequences. The hardest part isn't the divorce or the legal battles or even the loneliness. It's rebuilding my ability to trust. It's learning to believe in love again when the two people who claimed to love me most were planning my destruction while smiling to my face. It's wondering if I'll ever be able to let someone get close enough to hurt me again. But I'm surviving. I'm rebuilding. I'm learning that sometimes the greatest act of self-love is refusing to accept betrayal quietly. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is make sure the truth has consequences, especially when it hurts the people you once loved most. William and Linda got what they wanted. They're together now. But they got it at the cost of their reputations, their relationships with friends and family, and their own self-respect. They have to live with the knowledge that everyone they know has seen exactly who they really are beneath the masks they wore so well. And me? I'm learning to live with the knowledge that I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. Strong enough to expose the truth when it needed to be told. Strong enough to walk away from people who didn't deserve my love. Strong enough to start over, even when starting over feels impossible. The pain is still there, burning bright and angry in my chest. But it's teaching me something valuable. I deserve better than people who lie to my face while planning my destruction. I deserve better than fair-weather friends who betray me for their own selfish desires. I deserve better than a husband who breaks his vows while making speeches about love and commitment. That night at the restaurant changed everything. It ended my marriage, my closest friendship, and my naive belief that love and trust were enough to protect me from betrayal. But it also showed me what I'm capable of when pushed to my limits. It showed me that I won't go quietly into the night when someone tries to destroy my life. If you've been betrayed by someone you trusted, share your story in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from and how you found the strength to survive when the people who were supposed to love you showed you exactly how little you meant to them. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of betrayal, revenge, and the messy, complicated process of rebuilding your life when everything you believed in turns out to be a lie. Because that's what this is really about, not just revenge, but survival. Not just exposing liars, but refusing to let their lies define your worth. Not just getting even, but getting strong enough to build something better from the ashes of what they destroyed. The anger will fade eventually, or so people tell me. The pain will lessen with time. But the lesson will remain. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to make sure the truth has consequences, no matter how much it hurts and no matter who gets caught in the aftermath. That's my story. That's how I forwarded my husband's secret affair to the restaurant screen and watched 8 years of lies crumble in front of 200 witnesses. That's how I discovered that sometimes the greatest betrayals come from the people we trust most. And that's how I learned that while revenge might be a dish best served cold, truth is a weapon that cuts deepest when served hot and in front of everyone who needs to see it.